cooking from a book called Ground Beef Roundup. With a name like Ground Beef Roundup, you would think that today I'm going to be making a meatloaf, a casserole, maybe even a chili. Have I got news for you, because I am making brownies. You heard that correctly, ground beef brownies. I picked this book up a while ago. I think I briefly mentioned this in my very first cookbook haul video that I ever posted. And it was just a very quick little, hey, I got this book, it's called Ground Beef Roundup. I never thought to look through it until recently. Flipping through looking for something else, and I was shocked, surprised, delighted maybe, to find out that there are some desserts in this book, including the beefed up brownies that I will be making today. It looks like your standard brownie recipe with a little bit of beef mixed in. I'm not really sure if the beef adds much here or if it's just like, I had extra beef, let's put it in the brownies. Cook ground beef until it loses color and drain. I already did that. I measured out half a cup of ground beef as stated in the recipe. This was half a cup pre-cooked. So raw ground beef, throw it in a pan, brown it up, and call it a day. Beat eggs, sugar, salt, and vanilla until very fluffy. We have a new bowl today. This pattern is called Shenandoah. It is from the 1980s, so if you are of my era, you might remember this from your childhood. 1, 2, 3 eggs. Oh, 3 eggs in a shell. Eggs, sugar. We have a cup of sugar, a half a teaspoon of salt, and 1 teaspoon of vanilla. Beat until fluffy. Next is the main event. It says to add the beef. In goes the beef to my brownies. That made a very satisfying thunk kind of noise. Melt butter and chocolate cool. So chocolate and butter in with everyone else. And I'm giving that a stir to combine. It's a little disturbing to see these beef lumps in the brownie batter. Add remaining ingredients. So what is left? Flour, baking powder, and nuts. We've got our 3/4 of a cup of flour. I will say this is super fluffy. Is the beef working some magic? I don't know. Baking powder and half a cup of, it just says nut meats. I have crushed walnuts. They're roughly the same size as the beef crumbles. So this is gonna be kind of interesting and fun. Stir that together. Okay. That's what it looks like. It's just lumpy. It's just lumpy brownie batter at this point. The lumps could be walnuts, the lumps could be beef. It's a nice surprise for all of us. So pour into a greased 12 by 8 inch dish, which I don't have. 9 by 13 is larger. 9 by 9 doesn't give quite the same surface area. So I came up with this. This is a 2.6 quart square dish. So we're gonna try that, see how it goes. It's probably fine. I mean, I probably could have gotten away with a 9 by 9 or something, but was 12 by 8 a standard size of dish in the 1970s when this book came out? If you know, leave me a comment. Yes, here we are. Oh my gosh, I'm sorry. But as I spread this like that, you can just see the little crumbles of beef in there, and it's something else. I mean, did this book really need a dessert chapter? It's not even a chapter, it's 2 recipes. It's brownies and beef cookies. Another one to try out at Christmas. This book comes to us from Farm Wife News. So, if you are a farmer that has cows, whatever. Maybe you have a lot of beef and you're trying to figure out, what do I do with all of this? Put it in everything. So here is what we have. It's a nice thick batter. It's a little light in color. I'm supposed to bake this at 350 for 20 minutes. All right, so here we've got our beefy babies. I think I added about 5 minutes to the bake time on these, so just keep an eye on them. These still have a little bit of time to cool before we frost them, so I'm gonna get started on the frosting, which contains no beef. Melt chocolate and butter and cool slightly. I already did that. I just do that in the microwave. I know you could do it over a double boiler, but microwave is just a lot faster. You just have to keep an eye on it, go at like 30-second intervals and stir kind of as you go. Add confectioner's sugar and 1 tablespoon of milk at a time, beating until frosting is spreadable. I got a big bowl. I'm gonna put my butter and melted chocolate in there. I'm not gonna add all of the confectioner's sugar at once, just a little at a time. It doesn't say how much milk to add, it just says add it 1 tablespoon at a time. So I'm just gonna add a little bit in there. Looking at this icing, the consistency looks like Taco Bell ground beef at this point. So if you can see that, I just added more powdered sugar. It looks just like ground beef, folks. Look at that. Put that on an Ortega taco shell and add some sour cream and cheese and you've got yourself dinner. I'm gonna try to make it less ground beef-like. Okay, more milk. It needs more milk. Okay, better. I think this looks more icing-like than beef-like. I was getting worried. I ended up using 2 tablespoons of milk to get like this consistency right here. Do you prefer your brownies frosted or unfrosted? I don't think I have a preference. I just like brownies. I have a real sweet tooth. You know, I'd love to hear which kind that you like better. All right, we've cooled down a bit now. So I'm gonna go ahead and ice these things. I'm very excited to try them, as I usually am. They're brownies, they can't be that bad, beef or not. Here we are, beefy brownies. That is not something that I ever thought that I would say on this channel. I mean, actually, really, it's very likely that I would have said it at some point, I'm sure. Let's see how they turned out. They feel a little bit cakey as I'm cutting them. This might not be pretty. Getting the first brownie out of the pan is never an easy thing. Oh, it's not too bad. I did end up refrigerating these for a little bit. I just wanted that icing to solidify on the top. The day has come for me to try a beefed up brownie. I mean, it tastes like school lunch brownies, which is nice. Maybe you saw me pause mid-chew for 1 second. What I believe was a beef. It felt a little bit like a raisin. I'm gonna take another bite and see how this goes. Okay. They taste fine. They're sweet, they're nostalgic. The walnuts are definitely like, this is a walnut. The little beef crumbles, however, it's like a little bit harder to tell. Oh, that's so weird. I feel like I can more accurately like give my opinion. Can I? The beef is completely unseasoned. That particular bite where I had that like bigger beef crumble, I could definitely sense a little bit of like savoriness, but really it's like more of a texture thing, I think. If the beef crumbles are small, they're kind of like a dried fruit feeling when you chew them. This is such a weird sensation. I can't say that they add much of anything to this recipe. I think you could make these brownies without the beef and be perfectly happy, and probably happier with the outcome than you would with the beef. I'm still not quite understanding why the beef is there. Just because you can add beef to brownies doesn't mean you should add beef to brownies. I can't say, yes, make this recipe, or no, don't make this recipe. It tastes pretty good. I'll give it that. I just don't think that the beef is necessary. Well, I am back. This is my very first cooking video that I filmed in my kitchen in Ohio since leaving it for a year for California. So hopefully I did okay. I do have a P.O. box now. A few of you wanted to send me some cookbooks. Please never ever feel like you have to send me anything at all. But if you would like to, my P.O. box address is in the description down below. I hope you liked this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel by clicking on the red button below. I post content about food, vintage cookbooks, and retro recipes every week. Thanks again, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!